Hey, what's up, everyone? Dragon here for another edition of the Kaiju commentary. On this one, we're going to be watching Giant Phantom Monster Agon, aka Agon the Atomic Dragon. Now, we're going to do things a little bit differently on this one. When you see the image of the mushroom cloud rising up on screen, that is your cue to start listening to us. So, as always, we're going to kick things off in 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Kaiju commentary. Today we are watching Giant Phantom Monster Agon, aka Agon the Atomic Dragon, which has kind of become the international / more recognized title. Now, quick little backstory about this movie. Originally, it was a mini-series done by Nippon Television in 1964. However, it was not released till 1968 due to some legal issues. Apparently, Toho felt that this resembled a bit too closely one of their properties. I'm sure you can kind of all guess. Obviously, Godzilla. Kind of feeling that perhaps it was less, in the spirit of and more of a direct ripoff. Which, if I'm going to be completely honest with you, this movie or this miniseries now turned movie is in fact pretty much that. It's a ripoff.
Yeah.
Now, if you're wondering, with watching the movie version, if they had to remove or they cut out stuff from the miniseries, no, it was they just combined the episodes together, so to create a feature length film. But yeah, no, this is very much a Godzilla ripoff. So if you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, this all looks a little familiar.
That's the point.
That's the point. But it also at this point kind of showed you too how not only popular but how lucrative the kaiju genre was becoming in Japan. That when some people start ripping you off, essentially,
Yeah.
that's when you know you've got a hit, because now people are saying, okay, there's money to be made in this. Let's not only do something like that of ourselves, but let's try to mirror the thing that makes the most money in it. You know what I mean? So it's like
what the that Asylum studio that makes like the knockoff versions of movies.
yeah.
Kind of like that.
Except those movies, at least I don't think they're expecting anyone to take them seriously.
Well, yeah.
That's kind of the joke. They know that they're
But same idea.
Yeah, they know they're ripping it off. So it's kind of the wink wink. Whereas here they were literally just trying to make, well, let's try to make let's try to make let's make a Godzilla thing, but a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just ironic that in the end Toho is the one that finally released it as a film years later, when they figured, well, might as well, right? They were making so much money off Godzilla, they might as well make money off the things that try to be Godzilla too. Because I know Toho's very particular about Godzilla's image.
Oh yeah.
And it's very difficult to do anything that resembles Godzilla without Toho kind of being all over you. It's just kind of the way they are. They like to very much protect their investment. So, I think with the advent of the internet, they knew this stuff was never going to go away. So, kind of thing, they just decided to kind of get ahead of it and just take ownership of it. So, hey, well, at least it's theirs, and they're going to make money off of it if it's going to exist out there, which I think is from a business standpoint, is the smart thing to do. But anyway, That's kind of the little kind of funny backstory to this movie. So technically it was not released until 1968, but because it was done 1964, technically that's why we're releasing this episode of the commentary now as opposed to during the 1968.
Are they looking for radiation?
I believe so, yes. It's actually been a minute
Without
since
any protective gear?
Listen. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. You're applying logic, and I'd like you to stop. Okay?
Hopefully we don't find any, because
it's getting in the way of my movie. Knock it off. You with your facts and your reality, okay? You keep that shit to yourself. I'm trying to have myself a good time here. Now, I noticed this is the remastered version, so this is, again, the Toho release of the film, which, again, I keep saying release of the film. The film is the Toho release.
Yeah.
If you watch the original, episodic version of this, you'll notice that it's black and white, but it has like a weird kind of sepia tint to it. Now, I don't know if that was on purpose or it was just because it was such a low budget thing that even they're black. Because again, at this point in time, a lot of movies now were black and or were in color.
Mm-hmm.
Not all of them. I mean, Gamera would come out a year later, and that would be in black and white. But I think pretty much all Toho films at this point were kaiju films that done by Toho were in color. So black and white still implied lesser budget. Color was kind of like, ooh, something's in color. That means it's got money behind it. So when this thing was finally released in 1968, the fact that it was still kind of in black and white was not just a sign that it was been sitting on a shelf for a few years. This guy's face. But that also, it was kind of not a big budget. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. No one watched this thinking, hey, there's a lot of money behind this.
Yeah.
But like I said, it is kind of an important footnote, and I think in the kaiju genre, because again, it is kind of the first example of like someone seeing this genre and be like, wow, this is a thing here. We can make a lot of money off this. Let's start ripping it off, basically. So perhaps not perhaps not, something important as far as like a piece of cinematic art, but it is from a historical perspective. I think it is kind of important to acknowledge its existence because, again, well, A, it's a kaiju thing, and B, it's, what it represents is kind of important. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of my little, historical, thing. Agon. It's basically me trying to give this whole thing a bit more clout than it really does. Because,
Thanks for helping, guys.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't know. I love all things kaiju, and there are some really obscure things that even some kaiju fans might be just like, what the hell? You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I love them. They're like kind of like, even though they're like bastard children to me, but I still love them because they're kaiju films, kaiju TV shows. But at the same time, I realize that not all kaiju related things are made equal. Mm-hmm. But there is some. You'll see when you do see Agon, you'll see that while the suit itself is not overwhelmingly impressive, the suit can actually do some interesting things that we'll talk about when we see it. So serious.
It's just someone with a flashlight, guys. God.
Oh.
Flashlight and a breathing
Run
bottle.
away! Okay, you guys are cops, right? So I imagine at least you guys have guns.
I know, right?
Why?
I'll shoot it with my camera.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Yeah. Might have been smart to pull that up sooner, but alright.
You would think. Apparently that guy's got a gun, too.
The guy's like, I'm gonna shoot some motherfuckers. Like, the cop guy who's licensed and trained to shoot a gun, and there's the guy was like...
Yeah. Oh my god. I know what they're doing there, but still.
Pretty good thing about this movie too, I noticed that they actually do a lot of location shooting, which is nice.
Those zoom ins, oh my god.
Like, oh.
Just a shitty little kid.
Let's shoot him anyway.
The juvenile boss. Why is he hiding his flashlight?
Well, I think it's supposed to be he wasn't supposed to be there. Yeah, just sassy. Look at him. It's like, get the fuck out of my face. Interesting thing here, you're already starting to see like kind of the inclusion of kids a little bit into the plot. I mean, not nearly as like you're going to see like when you later on like the Gamera films, obviously, but it was starting to become clear at this point that these films were resonating very well with children. I mean, obviously, despite the early Showa era having these kind of darker, grim tones to them, the reality is it's still big monsters. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter how dark of a movie it is, or in this case, a show. Kids are going to respond to that. It's just the visual alone, even if they don't understand the allegory or the psychology behind it, the visual in and of itself is going to kind of resonate with them. So I think a lot of the makers of these of these kinds of films and shows, they kind of start to realize that, okay, this could kind of be something maybe we can kind of start leaning towards a little bit. And again, Agon is still a darker story compared to a lot of other, kaiju-related things that come out later. But you're starting to see the kind of the seeds of the future, if you will, already here. I mean, again, this was released in 1968 when, like, Gamera was already kind of doing his thing. But even when you think about it, this was made in 1964, you're already kind of realizing that they were kind of realizing, like, yeah, there is something to be had here, like maybe with younger audiences.
Here's my thing: if you just saw a radiation spike and you see something coming out, wouldn't you want to leave?
Here we go.
Oh my god!
Our first look at Agon. Look at that sassy face.
It's like, hey guys, I'm just chilling in my jacuzzi.
Look how badass it comes to sit here. Look really badass. Again. Interesting to point out, too, that we get a good look at the monster early on.
Yeah.
But then again, if you think about this as a TV show, so this would have been episode 1.
Oh, yeah,
so if you
so
waited
you
like half hour into
yeah.
the movie, or it would have been the end of episode 1.
It is cool how they made that happen.
Well, listen, the suit actually does some interesting things. And interestingly enough, what kind of got Toho to back off finally and allowed this thing to be released was came to light that, Shinichi Sekizawa, he kind of wrote a lot of the kaiju films for Toho, and Fuminori, I'm trying to make sure I say his last name right, Ohashi, he was actually an apprentice of Eiji Tsuburaya, who's the guy who did all the special effects for like the Godzilla films and the show at the time. So he worked under him. So it was kind of realized that, okay, that they kind of maybe, I don't want to say sold it, but again, doing the classic newsreel thing.
Yeah.
But kind of sold it more like, okay, it's less of like a ripoff of Godzilla and more like an homage. I think that's kind of what they played out. And look, we have people who are involved with the Godzilla productions. It's kind of them saying, like, this is them trying to spread their wings and kind of take what they've learned from the masters, so to speak, and try their hand. Not trying to create something that could rival Godzilla or really compete on the market, but just kind of like a nice little foray into the kaiju genre on their own. And I kind of think that's more. I mean, again, I wasn't there, but but I kind of get the sense that's probably more or less how they kind of pitched it. And I mean, and again, that could very well be, because again, I'm sure they loved working on these films. So for them, when they were making, a kaiju film, that Godzilla's the big deal. They got it's probably fun to kind of make a movie like their own little version of Godzilla, kind of little fan film, if you will, without using the title character. Because I got the sense if they had been allowed to, they probably would have loved to have made a Godzilla movie. You know what I mean? But they couldn't, so they kind of made something like it. Whether you want to call that a ripoff or not is up to you, I guess. I mean, it kind of feels like it is. Look at that dog.
Look at that pupper. It's like, oh,
you shall not pass. Dog pulls out a staff. Dog's like, kiss my ass.
He just takes a big old poop.
The dog's like, yeah, go ahead and step out of the car. Yeah, step out. This rips his throat out. You're not getting past this thing. Snaps his fingers. She kills everyone.
Oh. Why are you holding your jacket like that? You trying to show off your man cleavage?
The dog is not messing around. In your face, motherfucker. Again, kind of continuing a little bit the Toho tradition of having a stronger-willed women. Kind of, again, for still an older time, but you're seeing a lot of...
So now you littered. Good job.
You're still seeing some progressive elements here. And again, if they worked closely with Toho, it's not a surprise that you're seeing, kind of not just the aesthetic of their movies, but kind of also the... kind of the approach to characters, if you will. Well.
Fuck you.
Just in case you didn't know. but yeah, so I get the sense that's kind of what it is too. And I also kind of feel too by that point I'd say Godzilla for sure was a big financial draw for Toho. So I know we're talking a lot about Toho here, but you kind of have to understand that, when this came out, when you thought of kaiju films, Toho was like kind of synonymous with that. You know what I mean? Anything and everything that anyone was doing was because of Toho. And again, Daiei had yet to come out with Gamera. Gamera would come out a year later, and Gamera would ultimately become Godzilla's biggest competitor. Never quite reached the heights of Godzilla, even in Japan, but he was the closest thing Godzilla had to real competition. So, and I think that kind of maybe changed Toho's kind of philosophy because they realized that it was no longer just their thing anymore. This had become a full-blown genre, and now that meant it was, anyone could make a giant monster movie. You couldn't always just, cry foul.
Yeah.
So, and maybe they thought, okay, let's let this get released because now because it resembles Godzilla, it might be kind of feed into, how do I want to say, kind of feed into like the Godzilla hype because it resembles Godzilla so much that if people like Godzilla, they'll watch this and then maybe watch this and want to watch more Godzilla. Again, these are all just kind of my own personal little theories surrounding it, but I think they're pretty close to the truth as you're going to get. Especially when you get a good look at Agon, he looks a lot more like Godzilla than, for instance, Gamera does.
Surprise, motherfucker.
All right, surprise, motherfuckers. Again, using the scientist angle still, which I like. Again, very much very Toho here. Nah, she's just a research assistant, but at least she's in the.
But she's a sassy research assistant.
But at least she's something. She's not just She's again still pretty progressive. Whoa!
Those zoom in.
And it's like bam.
So intense. Danger.
I wish life came with zoom ins like that, so I would know right away if there's a problem. So I see you on the phone, and suddenly like my vision of you just does a crash. It's like, oh. I guess this is an important conversation.
Those zoom-ins where they like go in and out.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And my motion sickness kicks in.
Yeah.
I start dry heaving.
Oh, geez.
Honestly, any more of this, I might start. You're gonna hear me on this camera going.
Nasty.
Yeah, it is nasty. I'm just saying. I'd appreciate a little less camera movement sometimes. Oh God, no! It's like it hurting.
Wow.
You're just gonna hear like a wet splashing sound.
Oh.
Look at this run. Look at how they run. For the profile is awesome. It's like, where are you guys?
They're like
Look at this right
loping.
here. It's such a weird. And this music. I don't remember who did the music here. I say music, but I'm kind of being generous with that.
Yeah, that wasn't really music so much as a
Yeah,
weird
the musical score was
was
composed by Wataru Saito. Again, very limited budget, so I kind of think it was more just like effect sounds they've kind of used to make music. Because there's really no like musical score here. You know what I mean? You're not going to hear like these big sweeping themes that you hear like in the Godzilla films or any of the Toho movies for that matter.
We can't afford that.
Again, this is really, really not a big budget anything. And again, I don't think even back then anyone who watched this, I don't think they were under the impression. Because again, you look at the other films that are being produced at the time. But again, it is kind of cool now, especially when I found out about this because I was looking up for like obscure kaiju related things just because I was really curious. And I just saw a screenshot of this with like, the name over it and then in subtitles, Agon, the Atomic Dragon. I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, though, it's leaning heavily on the...
I like how calm he is about that.
I know, right? Well, it's leaning very heavily on the nuclear end of things here, which is interesting because by this point, the Godzilla franchise already started moving away from that a little bit. So it's kind of cool that, in this kind of low-budget thing, they're still calling towards that, you know what I mean? Which, again, obviously, if you know Japanese history, the whole nuclear allegory is kind of a big deal for them over there. So...
I like how they waited till it actually serviced to run, by the way.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
So now you just got splashed with atomic water.
We've all been splashed by atomic water at some point in our lives.
You just want them to have a wet coat contest, I guess? Because they're not wet t-shirts, so...
Well, all these times just ran out into the forest. It's like a herd.
I know.
It's like a herd of scientists. The herd's on the move, quick. There we go. Kind of getting our first good full look at Agon now. Kind of get a good look at the suit. Mm-hmm. Which, again, there are components of it that are really cheap looking, but there are also some parts that are actually very effective.
It looks like there's a huge neck seam where the head just sits on.
Yeah.
Which is a little unfortunate, but... Oh, maybe not.
Good miniature work, though, I gotta say.
It might have been a different suit in the water.
Well, I usually when they do, like, waters... Oh. Turn around, Jason Voorhees is right behind her. But, I've noticed one thing, too, with some of these smaller budget kaiju films, the legs are always much more proportioned to the actor in the suit, whereas if you look at, like, Godzilla's legs, for instance, are always really big and built up. And I think, too, it's one of those things where it's very heavy for the actor. There's a lot more strain on the actor, so... Oh, wow.
What was that? I couldn't even tell with that zoom in.
I will say this. It is interesting, too, how you're seeing a lot more, like, direct collateral damage between Agon and, like, the people. Because usually it's like, you know, you see Godzilla tromping through a city.
Well, he looks like he's actively going after him. Godzilla usually just kind of goes.
Not as yeah, it's...
He doesn't really notice people.
Which is kind of interesting, too. And it's a little bit different. I mean...
Really? You just tripped a little on some soft ground. You're fine. Don't be so dramatic.
Oh.
That reaction. Clearly that's the answer.
Well, she reacted pretty well to that. Like, oh, look at that, a tree just fell on my leg.
I know. Hey, at least it was the leg that was already kind of hurting.
It was a 3-ton tree that just fell on me. It is kind of cool, though, to kind of see, like, you know... with such a large thing just being near you, how much devastation caused just by walking around. And I mean, that's kind of cool.
Wait, so is that the other side of the beach, or did they just circle back around?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm not quite sure.
I like that she's trying to literally pull her leg out versus just using her leg strength to pull it out.
Leg strength.
You know what I mean? Like...
That face, oh man. She just cast some serious shade on Agon. Just, did you see that? She was giving him the...
She should have used her fingers and start, like, digging the dirt around and get her leg out.
Yeah. She could do that. But seriously, she was giving him the business with her eyes just there.
Hey, she is a sass master.
It's like when you pet your cat the wrong way and it gives you that look. That's what she was doing right just now. Classic, like, alarm or siren, everyone get out of Dodge scene.
Evacuation scene, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, around.
It's like in a fire drill when everyone has to meet out in the parking lot and do a roll
know.
call. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a giant monster coming. Maybe we should take this somewhere else. Not really. You're all right there. Like, you guys just ran out of your office. Oh, damn. Whoa. He's like fixated on her.
I know. It's like, you cast some shade, now you're mine.
I got your shade right here, baby. Oh, that is cold. Like, he is just like...
Oh.
Look at that. She is...
Well, that sucks.
You sent her straight to hell.
Jesus Christ.
Love it. Oh, look, a big giant round thing in a kaiju movie. I'm sure that'll be just fine.
He just uses it like a basketball, starts dribbling.
Starts dribbling. Some Harlem Globetrotter music starts playing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but it's interesting because this is my first time actually watching this completely through in the movie format. I mean, I've seen it multiple times before in the episodic state, so it's weird not seeing with that yellow, orangish tint.
Yeah. Yeah, so this would have been the start of the next episode.
Yeah, so you can see there's some overlap here already. You know what I mean? Which is
I'm kind of surprised for, like, the movie version, they didn't cut it out like this.
Well, again, it's one of those things where I don't really think.
They just put the least money possible.
Yeah, I don't really think this is kind of. Again, I think this is more or less just Toho saying, "Well, screw it, it exists. Let's just,
We'll make some money off it.
Yeah, I think they literally just put the episodes back to back to back.
Yeah. Wow. They even left the title part up.
Yeah. Again, it's not like if they really, really wanted to, they could just trim it here, which obviously would actually even reduce the running time a little bit too. But that's kind of how it is. They just wanted to get it out there and just make some money off of it. But I don't really think they care. And it's not like Toho needed the money either. I mean,
yeah.
She didn't go that far down. It's not even. It's hardly hell. It's not even purgatory.
Good thing Agon disappeared.
Yeah, I know. Where the hell did he go?
Guess you don't need to evacuate anymore.
Man of action.
Oh, see, he kind of like elbowed her.
Yeah.
Or like hit her, not elbowed, he hit her in the jaw.
Oh, there he is.
Now he's saying surprise, motherfucker.
But yeah, no, there are definitely elements of the suit that work really well. I actually like these tail effects. They look cool. Again, I think for kind of a more simply designed suit, they shoot around it pretty well. Like it's not
yeah.
Like you see some of the wide shots here. Interesting enough, I think Agon works better from the profile.
His hands are a little weird, I think.
Yeah, his hands are a little oven mitt.
Yeah, they're a little disproportionate.
It almost looks like he's trying to have like the Gorgo thing, where Gorgo had kind of those almost like big like bear paw hands, but they were obviously designed
his
very
arms
well.
Are really skinny, so it's a little weird.
Yeah, well, Gorgo had kind of big, brawny arms.
Yeah. He looked like he was in a sprinkler, like just enjoying. It's like, ooh, what is this?
Again, shots like this, they're just classic, kaiju cinema, where you just see the big monster and like,
fuck this building.
Yeah, again,
where'd the ball go?
It looks kind of cheap, but at the same time, it's so classic that you kind of love it. You know what I mean? But obviously, here the lack of a kind of a big score, I think.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it till you just said that, and I'm like, oh yeah.
It feels a little kind of like,
empty.
Oh, and now this is happening, kind of thing, because it doesn't have that big. Usually, it'd be like a big musical moment here, and all this would be kind of a.
Maybe they were just trying to make it more realistic.
I just don't think they had the money.
I know. Oh, well,
Just
there's
stomp,
something.
Stomp, stomp. And I think also his roar, while cool, is a little too subdued. It doesn't have that deafening, like, just echoes out. It's just kind of a low, droney sound.
It's kind of funny, because if you look at the way his mouth is shaped, it's a lot like Shin Godzilla's, where it's really far back. So his mouth is kind of like, does a snake mouth thing.
Yeah. Right, the first time Agon and Shin Godzilla ever got put in the same sentence together. So, congratulations.
You know what I mean? Made history. Like, they have, like, that really, like, far back
Yeah,
jaw.
where it almost has, like, an unnatural, like, I don't know, kind of an unnatural maw, if you will.
Like, it's just, like, bleh, unhinged. Almost like a weird puppet mouth.
Well,
like,
which, if you look at it, it almost, anatomy-wise, it doesn't really work.
No. But he's a mutation, so it's okay.
Boom. It's just wiping out his face. Yeah, no, the hands kind of have like an oven mitt quality to them, if you will.
Yeah.
Which, again, I see what they're going for, and I think if they had been able to create more dexterity, or kind of do what they did with Gorgo, where Gorgo's hands didn't really move that much, but they kind of had them designed in a fixed state, So it kind of gives them like a natural like curl to the fingers, like claws. Whereas here they just kind of flat open. Ironically enough, they have more dexterity, I think, than Gorgo's hands did. But that's almost what works to their what's the word I'm looking for? It kind of works against them because it doesn't. When they tries to move them, they don't move like natural fingers. They move like big oven mitts. So I think with Gorgo, they were smarter. That if they didn't, were going to make the fingers move, they kind of just had them in a fixed, rigid position that just looked really, really cool. Interesting too. They actually expose. There's a lot of good practical special effects happening here. And the suit is exposed to fire. The suit is kind of put in a position where it could be damaged. Which is interesting too. Because I tried to do some research to see if they did have multiple suits, and I couldn't really find anything. Again, I doubt it. I think this film or the series, now turned film, probably couldn't afford to have multiple. I mean, I think they might have had a different one for the water. And it might have been kind of a very simple like mold, if you will, or cast of it just for those shots. But obviously, when it's moving on land, it has to have more dexterity. But I'm not sure that they really had a lot of different kind of multiple suits or puppets like you would see in the Godzilla films, where they would kind of have a different version of Godzilla for every kind of action or behavior he would need to make. Or do, I should say.
Make do.
Make do. Her hair kind of reminds me of Natalie Portman's in Leon the Professional. Matilda's hair. Kind of looks like an older Japanese version of Matilda.
It's not exactly a, rare hairstyle.
So. Listen. It means something to me, okay? Again, probably the first time anyone's ever mentioned Agon and that movie in the same sentence. So we're making a lot of history here in this commentary, folks. But yeah, the suit does do some interesting effects work later on that you'll see. Something that the Godzilla suit actually didn't do. Which was actually kind of surprising considering, again, the budget of this film. I know a lot of people were surprised, like, oh, wow, later on you'll see it do... I mean, we'll talk about it when it happens, but you'll see it do something that when you really think about it, like, oh, wow, that's, A, it's kind of dangerous, and B, it's kind of impressive, actually. Especially when you consider it as an actor inside the suit.
It's just... Jesus.
It's funny too. The Agon suit was later used in a TV series called The Space Giants. He wasn't Agon in that he was he just kind of they used him as a dinosaur, and then they used him as another creature called Giant Phantom Monster Agon or Aron. I know Toho did that too a few times with like their Godzilla suits. I know famously one of the Godzilla suits was used in a Ultraman show. You give him like a big frill around his neck and kind of give him a different paint job.
Yeah.
Look at him run. Yeah, the music's... Again, I'm being really generous by calling it a musical score here, but again, I think it was mostly just a lack of budget, but I don't know. I kind of wish, as synthetic as the sounds...
Again, it's just like a bunch of weird repeated sound effects.
Yeah, and again, I mean, nowadays, obviously, with computers and whatnot, we have means to you can just synthetically create music. Obviously, that sounds way more dynamic. But back then, it's like you basically had to have all real instruments to record, music. So anything that was kind of more synthetic, we were going to be a lot more limited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
you didn't have techno in the 60s, so synthetic music was kind of, I think you're very limited to what you could do with it, as you're kind of hearing here. But yeah, it is cool to see again the whole dynamic of like the reporter and the scientist kind of working in conjunction again. That's something that I've always loved. It's something I always felt worked best in kaiju films, and I always liked it when science is at the forefront, and even when you use reporters to kind of explain away, because again, it's their job to ask the questions the audience is asking, and the scientists are obviously the ones who have all those answers. So again, here they're kind of talking about again using the nuclear allegory, reviving Agon, again, very much implying that Agon was a creature that existed already, but it was his exposure to nuclear weapons and kind of the fallout that's kind of revived him. Yeah, and they're even saying here that he got bigger, and stronger because of radiation. So I think it was very much implied with the original Godzilla, too, that Godzilla was already a creature that existed. He was already a species. But he was exposed to, nuclear radiation, and it kind of enhanced him, so to speak. And it's kind of implying the same thing with Agon. So yes, Agon very much is a Godzilla ripoff. I can say that with, confidence. And I don't think anyone really dispute that. Again, I'm not trying to take anything away from this, but the reality is there is nothing original here. But like I said, it is interesting to see, the popularity of this kind of story now, and how much has already taken root at this point in history. And again, by the time it finally was released in 1968, it was even more popular and more embedded in kind of the pop culture in Japan than it would have been even in 1964. So I kind of wonder too if maybe having waited a little bit, it kind of maybe even helped this out more. I mean, I don't really know too much about the legacy of Agon in Japan. It's something I would be curious to kind of see. Like, do people remember this? Do people
know what it is?
Give a damn? Like, serious soldier shots. Oh, kind of it looked a little less epic when it panned out. They're just guarding like what, a jeep. Again, some of the effect shots in here aren't too bad.
Just don't look close enough.
Yeah.
Good thing it's grainy.
Again, I think, and you'll notice too, they do a lot of tight shots in this. They kind of hide the lack of stuff they have. Like they show like those row of tanks they had. Okay, it was impressive they had like full size tanks. I don't know if they were like decommissioned or they were like legit tanks, but obviously I think it was meant to look like they had probably like a lot more of them than they had, but they just kind of kept it a tight shot on like 3 or 4 of them. Again, it's always kind of interesting to see like kind of these smaller budget productions, kind of the little tricks they implement to kind of get around the fact that they don't have that much, and it kind of, I think, also forces the creative forces behind them to yeah, I know, right? To kind of be smart with how they shoot their their films, so to speak. Because otherwise, if you can have anything and everything, you can just do anything and everything. But if you're working within restrictions, you kind of really need to be smart and be here's some stock footage. But you have to be kind of more clever with how you shoot your film. So for that reason alone, it is kind of cool sometimes to watch these smaller productions, because again, you kind of see how crafty they had to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I think this right here is maybe a different suit. Again, I don't know. Unless, of course, that is maybe why the Agon suit is more simple, because if it's got to get wet and stuff, it can't be too complex. They'd have to drain it out, it's...
Yeah, don't want it to get heavy.
Also, too, yeah, because all that stuff absorbs water, so the Godzilla suit was very big, very bulky, so on top of that, it was already heavy. Hi, guys! But on top of that, having to absorb more, like, water and all that, it would make it even heavier, so maybe they built the suit lighter, so when it does absorb water, it kind of, balances it out a little bit more. Again, I'm not sure. These are all things I'd be curious to know about. Hey! Kind of wonder if those were meant to be shots where he's supposed to be like taking fire and they just kind of use them wherever.
Maybe.
Again, there are moments in here where I feel they just kind of shot a bunch of like kind of just B-roll footage of just Agon being Agon, and then they kind of decided later on maybe where they're going to drop it in.
We'll see how it works in.
Again, I'm not positive, but some of the shots looks like he's supposed to be directly, like here the attack has already started, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
But earlier there were some shots where it looks like he's supposed to be fighting something or like responding to something where there's nothing. But again, the little like explosions and things like that, there we go. That's what I was talking about. Like the suit actually breathes
I like how you could
fire.
tell his mouth was on fire a little bit.
Yeah. But that's my point. I mean, that's essentially a flamethrower in the mouth of the suit. I mean, the Godzilla's atomic breath was never actual real fire.
It was like steam or mist or something.
It was initially a steam and mist, and then later on it was like an animated effect they'd add in post-production. So, I mean, that's an actor in that suit with basically a flamethrower attached
on his
to
head.
him. Yeah, essentially. So it's one of those things where, while the suit itself may not be the most impressive thing ever, it does some pretty impressive stuff. You know what I mean? And it is taking some damage there.
Yeah.
See, I think the neck didn't have a lot of dexterity, because it was a rigid thing. So I think the reason they made that crease kind of at the base of the neck was so it would fold down to give the illusion of like neck movement, where the neck isn't actually moving, but it's just kind of bobbing because of that crease.
I also think too, because they make the neck kind of do like the frog thing where it fills with air a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that's probably why.
Kind of
it has to have a little what's the word?
It has to kind of be like a really separate component.
Yeah, it's got to be able to expand basically. So it's got to have a little extra skin.
Kind of seems like the budget of this suit is like shoulders up.
Yeah.
Problem with that though, sometimes they do that and it kind of creates more of a top heavy look, which is funny because
he's actually pretty proportionate. Again, the only thing that I don't think is proportionate is his arm size to his hands and everything.
I think his legs could stand to be a bit thicker, but again, it's kind of ironic because in later Godzilla films, I felt Godzilla was actually a little, well, fuck them. Like in the Heisei era, like Godzilla sometimes I think got a little too bottom heavy.
Yeah.
Or his legs kept getting more and more massive.
Thunder thighs.
Yeah. But his head just didn't keep up. So he with this tiny little head. And I've always said I think it'd look better if they would. I don't mind them making him bigger, but just kind of, have the head catch up a little bit. But it kind of seems like sometimes when you have like kaiju like that are a bit disproportionate, it's kind of one or the other. It's either like the upper body is really big and built up, and the lower body is a little like you can tell like Agon looks like he skips leg day at the gym. For being honest here, like he doesn't really do a lot of
Well, he doesn't do arm day either, so I guess he just does his neck.
He just works out his core.
Yeah.
He does a lot of shoulder shrugs and a lot of crunches. That's about it. It's like, hey, Agon, maybe you should do some deadlifts, bro. They hit the brakes. They go flying at the camera.
Shut up. He's like, oh.
What the fuck you just say to me? This guy's kind of creepy. I get what they're going for, kind of the cool, calm, intellect of the side. He just comes across like a serial killer.
Whoa. What's that? Oh gosh, I guess that was whatever was on the film.
Yeah.
Not the light. Oh. Why?
You kind of whack-a-mole that thing.
I know.
Yeah, I definitely think Agon works better from the profile. I see. I think if his mouth didn't go back as far, it would help a little bit.
Your ass must be crazy.
It's always interesting. People just, oh look, right now there's a giant monster just messing shit up right now, and everyone's just kind of just there watching
That's
them
what
having
I
a
was
problem. I'm just
saying,
like, okay, you not see what's in front of you and coming right at you.
You're a little calm about this.
Yeah.
And he's irradiated, right? Still.
I think we've already kind of long since. Why are you moving closer to him?
He just drives into him. Oh.
Like what are you doing?
Did you
action.
put something on the... okay, what was the point of that? Or is it gonna explode?
Yeah, they had something in there, obviously.
And there's a distraction. That's what it looks like. It's like when you throw a little paper ball at a cat. Just what I always wanted. Well, that was easy enough. He just wanted a toy car.
From the background, it looks just like Godzilla.
I was thinking that they even did the 3 spines.
Yeah.
Or I guess they're kind of spines.
No. No, we're all fucked, actually.
It's funny, I didn't realize that was his roar at first. It sounds like a weird pitch down, like, fart. Sorry, guys. That's what it sounds like to me.
Again, his roar, you could argue is a bit more more realistic in terms of a low, drony sound usually big animals have, big reptilian animals do. But, I don't know. It's obviously... Whoa!
Oh, that sucks.
It's obviously not very dynamic sounding either, I mean, it's like... Now we're going to start introducing a B plot here. So if it's one thing this needs, is a B plot.
You're awfully kind. Hey, look, a gun. That's not a bad thing at all.
I know, right?
God. Why did it make that sound? Did you hear that?
That's what happens when guns hit the floor, didn't you know? I don't know if I want two strangers get naked in my house.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you sure hospitable.
That's not suspicious at all.
I know. There's that great, catchy soundtrack.
I know. It just sounds like weird Darth Vader breathing. Obviously, this was before, but still. You know what I mean? Like
Sounds
that.
like rave Darth Vader breathing. Yo, what's up? Check out my new hat. Just like, take off that silly ass hat. She just punches him. cheeky motherfucker.
I like how putting that hat on made him look like 10 years younger.
So I'm trying to understand, this looks like they might have shot it in southern Japan. I'm trying to see if I can. I always wanted to kind of. I always like looking at obviously Toho filmed a lot either on their Toho lot, but obviously Toho did a lot of location shooting too, and because they were Toho, they could kind of shoot wherever the hell they wanted.
Yeah.
But obviously something small like this, they seem to be very much bound to like a specific location they're working with.
Yeah, it is weird that they kind of did one of these though, like you said, like a B plot.
Yeah.
It's kind of like random.
Well, I think they're probably thinking too.
Oh,
Whoa, hey.
Here we go.
I know that's traditional, but still, I don't. I'm all set actually. If you don't wanna.
Look at his legs though.
I know that dude. Damn.
His legs are.
He's got bigger legs than Agon.
I know, right?
Freaking roundhouse kicked the shit out of Agon. Agon shows up. He comes up. I got this.
God, is he gonna run into Agon?
I hope not for Agon's sake.
Oh wow.
Poor Agon. He's gonna get down there and just getting curb stomped on the water by this guy. Hey, look at Agon's legs, and then look at that guy's legs. No, there's no competition. Agon's got bigger hands, though, so if Agon starts, like, trying to pimp slap him, I think the guy might be in trouble. But if this guy kicks him... It'd be like that episode of The Simpsons where, like... What was it, like, I think, like, Bart... Or was it Bart or Alicia, like, one of them is swinging their arms around, and the other's, like, kicking out their legs, and they just run into each other, and they just... Well, of course there's no monster on this. This is Japan. Like,
I know.
how do you see it so clearly though, without like any like it was the other than they go in the water? Oh, look,
And
I
that's
can see
salt
that.
water.
Yeah, you're not gonna see shit. That's the thing. The thing could be literally like 20 feet in front of you. You probably wouldn't make it out.
Some waters are really clear. I mean, that doesn't look super clear.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in the waters in Okinawa, and they weren't kind of clear. I don't know.
But still, it's salt water, so it's like, how are you not dying?
And how deep did he go?
I know.
Because again, I'm like, if
Agon's just chilling down there.
yeah, if it's that shallow, I'll almost be like, well, geez, Agon could just like lift his head up and he'd be right there, which I guess makes sense.
Look at my baby pistol.
I know. Dude, I could kick you harder than that gun could shoot me.
Mm-hmm. I'm just like, you could easily knock it out of his hands right now and he'd be fucked.
He just kicks that guy's head clean off. Oh! Nice hat, kid. Everyone's rocking some spiffy hats. Kid is he's like cramping my style here, homie. I'm trying to smash you, little man. Sit your ass down. Come on, Thunder Thighs. Do your thing. You saw those legs. Dude next to you doesn't really look like he spent a lot of time in the gym. I'm pretty sure you could take him. Kid rips off a shirt. He's like rippling muscles, like 6-pack. Rips that guy's heart out of his chest. Yeah, no, I think the reason why they kind of introduced the concept of like a subplot here is like obviously this would have been like, I don't know, like the third or fourth. I'm not quite sure what episode this would be now. Probably by this time at least the third, I would say. And it's kind of like, okay, to kind of keep it going, as a series. But for me, I'm just kind of like, I don't really care.
His pants are really tight. Not that I'm trying to look, but they are.
But if we're being real here,
They're
are
really tight. Like, I'm pretty sure I saw some bulge.
And the way she was holding that fishing rod, she just looked like she was not into this
What
at
do
all.
I do with this?
She's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? This is your stupid idea. This is Japan. There's like how many fucking fish markets here? Why the hell are we fishing?
I know.
One thing you don't have any trouble finding in grocery stores around here is seafood.
What do you want, my kid, you weirdo?
Yeah, strange that a grown-ass man is coming over to ask him if like his kid can play.
I say, shut the door, motherfucker.
He's a sassy dude. But yeah, no, it is interesting. Like, I wonder how many of these guys were actually maybe like television actors too. I'd imagine that's kind of be where like Toho, they had like a kind of like a roster, if you will, of actors that they kind of like an actor pool, if you will. Excuse me, I'm dying.
Jesus.
Seriously, that little pea shooter.
Again, just knock it out of his hands into the water and you're fine. Like,
Well, still, I mean,
like, dude, you could dive. Just flip the boat. They'll be screwed, and you can just use your legs to swim away.
the thing, you were diving before, and even when you saw Agon, he didn't come up. I'd just kind of be like, I'd just swim away, maybe.
Yeah.
Again, it's not like they have the kid with them in the boat.
Wonder where they have him.
Unless they have him tied up back in
Or
his
he
place.
could just, like, untie himself and then swim away.
Obviously, he does this for a living.
What?
Diving, I mean.
Oh. God, Agon, you lazy bum.
I don't know, he doesn't really do much. Like, even now that he's been quote-unquote reawakened, he just doesn't really stay awake. He's kind of a really passive-aggressive kaiju. Find a way to move Agon. You ever wanted to know what a bad idea sounds like, kids?
Do you have access? I was gonna say.
Yeah, about that. His face like,
That sound.
You know, it's one of those things too. I would actually love to see like now like a Netflix like kaiju miniseries kind of thing. Kind of do like a Stranger Things style, even though hey, season 2 of Stranger Things looks like it might have one in it.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. It'd be kind of cool to again, we did a whole kaiju cataclysm episode talking about like expanding the kaiju genre just beyond film into like other kind of media, especially like streaming media. So I feel like something. Oh, some great security they have there.
Yeah.
But you know, I kind of feel like the idea behind. I mean, I think maybe they didn't try to basically rip off Godzilla, but I like the idea of using another medium for these kinds of stories. I think was kind of a cool idea. I mean, obviously they did it for budgetary reasons, but still, you know, I think the idea behind it, like, you know, expanding with kaiju, the kaiju genre can be, is cool. So I wouldn't mind seeing like a mini series like this, like, you know, on a streaming kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it'd be pretty successful too now.
I think so too. I think honestly this kind of format would work better today than ever before, you know? So it's in a lot of in a kind of an ironic way, this is a kind of an interesting blueprint for what you could do with it.
Like like how easy it is to get that, by the way.
Well, yeah, you need some, some nuclear stuff. You just go down to your local,
It's essentially just like a locker.
Yeah, here's your uranium. Let's just go in there, pick up some uranium and, head back out. That's how it goes. I know that's how I do it when I need uranium. Yeah, how careless you were. Like, how did we even get past, like, Jesus.
I know.
Hey guys, yeah.
Like, shouldn't you be asking the cops behind him?
Yeah, because she'd be asking, like, the row of dudes behind him with guns and, like, the ability to, like...
Do something?
Yeah.
Not the
reporter. Save my son, guy with pad and pencil. Not guys armed with firearms. No, not them. Clearly they'd be useless in this endeavor.
Oh my god.
I always thought it'd be kind of funny if, like, Toho just, like, brought back Agon now. Like, did something with him, just introduced him to one of the new movies, or just did, like, a new Agon thing. Yeah, snarky bastard.
Say, why are you so happy about this?
I know.
There's some random guys out with uranium?
Just another day in the life. Again, it seems kind of like tonally sometimes uneven, but again, you have to remember these are episodes, so you kind of see like the peaks and falls kind of with the episode. But again, that's why sometimes combining something into a movie isn't always as effective, because again, it's not just a matter of like, oh, just glue them all together and there you go. It's kind of like, okay, but the problem is like kind of within like each episode there's like rising action, there's kind of resolution, so it just kind of feels like multiple stories within a movie that just kind of seem to kind of come and go. I mean, ultimately I think it works okay, but I felt it worked a little bit better kind of in terms of the flow when I watched it initially as like episodes, because I kind of saw like, okay, here's episode 1, here's kind of the start of it, the middle, here's the end. Here's episode 2, start, middle, and end. So you kind of got that sense. Whereas here it's supposed to be kind of one continuous thing, but it does there's kind of really no pacing when you kind of watch it as a movie, I feel. It's just kind of like, yep, stuff happens here and there. Oh, there's Agon. Oh, here's some bank robber guys, and here's the, it kind of just, everything kind of just feels sporadic.
It's a little weird, yeah.
Yeah, things just kind of happen randomly but if you watch it within the confines of the episode, it fits a little bit better, because you kind of feel these are all kind of meant to be more like little mini stories within a larger narrative. So I think it was just easier for them to kind of repackage it this way and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But like I said, I mean, again, I don't know how many people really know about Agon. Like, I kind of found out about it later on, it wasn't something I knew about growing up, and I don't think a lot of people did outside of Japan, maybe, just because, again, it's not like a big publicized thing. I think it's one of those things where, with the advent of the internet and people, bootlegging stuff and putting it online, like that, it kind of came to light. the guy doesn't have the gun out.
I know. Jeez.
His face, his anguished face. See, right now, where are all the cops with guns?
I know.
Like, why is the reporter there? Why is, like, Japanese Gilligan there? Like,
my
you know
God.
what I mean? Like, what? Look at him. Look at him. He's beating his ass, too. But seriously, where are all the damn cops? Where's literally everyone who could resolve this problem right away? The guy has one gun, which he's not even using, by the way. I'm like, dude, where's his... Yeah, well, now he takes it out. Then he just gets riddled with bullets by all the cops. They just show him, just blow him away. Look at him smile. He's like, ah.
There he is.
Oh, there he is. Agon comes out with a gun.
I'm trying to sleep. You guys shut up. Jesus Christ.
Oh no. Yeah, it's funny in this like episode, I guess, if you will. Agon kind of just feels more like a background thing, where it's like, you know, we're dealing with this issue, you know, the robbery of the uranium, the bank, the guys taking the kids out, and it's like, we got to get out of here now because of Agon. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't feel like this was about Agon. That guy tried to run on the... Yeah, no shit. Oh. Yeah, right here, I'm pretty sure this is like a puppet.
Yeah, I was gonna say the eyes look different there.
And the shape of the head is a little bit different. It's... Oh, God.
I think the nostrils are bigger too.
Again, it's hard to say. Again, I don't think they really would have done a lot of different variations on the suit because of the budget.
Yeah.
So I think they might have maybe a smaller bust. It's hard to say. Where's that fire coming from? Like I said, you don't really get a lot of grand scenes of like military strike. I think there was that one we saw, and that was it. Oh, there are all the guys with guns. By any means necessary. Again, I love that they always have these shots of everyone always looking on. I was trying to get a sense of Agon's scale too. Again, sometimes you usually always had to kind of use the miniatures as like, is that guy grabbing onto his leg?
Yep.
That's awkward.
I know. It's like, dude, if you turn your face, it's right there. It's right there.
It's right there, bro. It's right there.
Can you just like stand or back up a couple feet?
But anyway, but yeah, no, I was thinking too. Like sometimes with these older films, it's certain things in the miniature. I mean, Toho was always pretty good about consistency, but like there's with here, I'm trying to get a sense. Okay, how big?
Maybe Agon's just trying to play fetch here.
Yeah. Again, I think Agon here is a little smaller than Godzilla because Godzilla at this point in time was 50 meters.
Yeah.
I think he's smaller. Which is interesting too, because you'd think they would actually want to maybe make these monsters bigger, because that would mean the miniatures could be smaller. Because obviously, the smaller the monster, the bigger the miniatures have to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas, you know.
Sorry, I was like intrigued by how she was acting. Like she kept doing her hand thing, and when she was like, "I don't know what to do with my hand."
I like how it's like Agon like deliberately smashes things.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, I'm gonna step on this. Still has that boat. It's kind of clever. Like we can't really shoot him because technically Agon has a hostage, I guess. But why is Agon realistically just holding that boat in his mouth? And this is gonna sound okay. Maybe this is gonna sound a bit grim on my part. So
I know. I was thinking.
Prepare yourself, folks. But realistically speaking, would they, from just kind of a collateral damage perspective, is it better to just sacrifice the life of one boy? Because Agon right now is smashing buildings and in theory killing people. You know what I mean? Like I kind of think that okay, multiple people have died already just by him coming ashore like this. So should we allow more people to be trampled to death to save the one boy? Which and I'm assuming other children are being killed right now too. Or would we just be like, you know what, it sucks, but we have to sacrifice one kid?
I like how they're saying, how's he doing? Oh, he's unconscious. How do you know that? How do you know?
How do you even know he's alive still?
I know.
Hell, he could have fallen out of the damn boat by now.
He could have been eaten already.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying, it's kind of like, they always do stuff like, sometimes they do stuff like this in movies, and I'm like, realistically speaking, I think the military would just kind of be like, listen, it's a raw deal, but we can't, keep trying to save one person's life while dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands of people in the meantime are being killed because of it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of like you have to do the math, and it's like, I think, that kid would be screwed. Either Agon was going to kill or he was going to get blown away by artillery fire. I don't think...
Why does he look like he's meditating up here? He's just chilling.
Look right here. Look how everyone's just kind of strolling and thinking and talking. I'm just kind of like... That's the problem. I think that's... If you look at this one in the context of an episode, it works. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But right now, the movie, this should be kind of like... We're reaching kind of the end here.
Yeah.
This is like... Should be like the climax of the movie. So everything should be kind of ramped up at this point. Here, we're just having a smoke. Just... Look at him.
I know.
Just chilling, talking about shit. Checking the time. Yep. Meanwhile, there's a giant monster. Well, I was going to say rampaging, but no, he's not.
No, he's chilling.
Everyone's just kind of taking a smoke break here. Even Agon's just kind of like, yeah, I'm just going to kind of hang out.
I know it's convenient for me to just chill, so I will.
Everyone here is just... He's the only one who looks like he's nervous about shit.
Yeah.
Everyone else is just chilling and shit.
Why would Agon just let that go up to him unless he's asleep?
It's going to work. Yeah, you're... Yeah,
okay.
Really. Well, why is Agon just kind of kicking it?
Unmoving. No, that's funny.
Oh, somebody drew the short straw. Agon just swipes him away. Psych!
It's like a dog that's pretending it's sleeping, and if you reach for something near it, it will bite you.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm picturing.
Again, there's a lot of convenient things happening here.
You're gonna take on the whole self-defense force? Now he moves. It's like, oh, what's that? That face! Oh, that sucks.
Agon was like, bitch, please.
Now, realistically, that kid would have flown out of that boat by now.
That boat would be gone by now.
Well, yeah, but... Duh.
Yeah, scrap the plan, start shooting.
Clearly, just let him go into the city and kill everyone and destroy
See, that's my point. I mean, I think we're starting to kind of reach the point where, not full on kid friendly, they're not ignorant to the fact that kids really like these kinds of things. So I think if this would have been kind of the earlier, darker era. Well, I don't think they would have this whole little plot thing here with the kid trapped in the boat. But I think realistically, if they they killed kids in the original Gojira, they were kind of very realistic about, hey, this is what happens when this happens. It sucks. I think they would have been like, well, sucks for the kid, but we got to open fire because he's literally trampling on. And here we go. Now we're just hanging out some more. I'm a
reporter. What do you want from me?
I've lost the enemy. Well, again, it's supposed to be kind of a character drama moment, but realistically speaking, it's kind of like, Again, right now, I don't really care about this. I want to get back to the monster part. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Again, I think if this had been scripted out as a film... So again, it's not really the fault of the show. Because again, if you watch it as a show, this all plays out a lot better. Mm-hmm. But when you watch it as a movie, there's a lot of kind of up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, right up to the end, basically. And that's what kind of hurts it, I think, if you watch it as a movie. Yeah. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, obviously, maybe some of you guys might watch it like this and think it's just better. But I don't know. I think this is still very much designed as a show. And it was never meant to be watched as a movie or put together as a movie. So when it got put together as a movie, it kind of suffered from pacing issues that would not have been an issue if it was just, TV show. She's really pretty, actually.
I know.
She kind of came off as really creepy. Did you just shake her hand? Mm-hmm. Oh, you got no game whatsoever. And she came across a lot creepier initially. Her smile, I don't know, something about it. She's pretty, but I just kind of feel like she's going to, shove scissors in the base of my spine at any second.
Right. Beautiful and deadly.
She just stomps on it like, argh. Again, I don't know. His character, he's just way too... Cool shades guy in the background. I don't know. I definitely see the kind of character they were going for, and it's kind of character we've seen in Godzilla films and other Toho films at this point. But I don't know. He's just a little too boring. Mm-hmm. I love that little...
I know. It just seems like a weird magical sound, you know what I mean?
I know. Well, that's the thing.
It doesn't really fit to me.
The soundtrack is really... basically sound effects.
Well, that's what I was saying, yeah. They're like repeated sound effects.
There's no real sound track, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. It's...
Oh, I was going to say you missed, but I guess you did.
I guess you hit the wires, yeah. And stuff like this right here really works as a kaiju film. Yeah. And again, like when you see things like this, I mean, they're having to suit walk through fire. I mean, it does do some,
Yeah.
Especially when you think about it, it's a TV budget. I mean,
and like the fact that stuff's actually catching on fire when he does that.
Well, that's my point. There's no like perspective work here where they superimpose it in the shot. It's happening. It's really there. So it's kind of like
a poor guy.
Well, again, there is a degree of risk here for the suit actor, so you can't really just discount it, basically. But I think too they had limited sets for Agon to destroy, so they kind of have to use these shots sparingly.
Mm-hmm. I just wish they came up with a better thing than, oh, he's gonna carry the kid with the boat in his mouth.
Again, I think they're trying to find a way to kind of heighten the drama a little bit. That way, it's not just, hey, the monster attacking, let's shoot at it. Well, I think the reason why too, because again, they don't have a big budget, so they probably couldn't really afford.
But again, like
really
the kid was holding it, that kid would have definitely fallen out.
Yeah, the kid would be dead 10 times over by
Whiplashed.
now. But it's one of those things where I think
With the radiation.
they can't really afford big action sequences and big shootouts, so they have to basically find a way. Okay, because realistically, okay, the military should just be shooting at him. Oh,
and there he's dead.
and yeah, if he wasn't dead already, which he would or should have been dead already.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, yay!
Monsters are alive with the sound of music.
But you know what I mean. So they have to get away around the fact they're making a kaiju movie or a kaiju show, and normally it's supposed to have big military attack sequences. But you can't afford that, so how do you have where the military is there, the kaiju is there, but they're not shooting at him? Well, have him be holding the boat with the kid in it. Well, now we can't shoot at him because he's got a hostage, basically. So it's kind of like, okay. But at the same time, then it also kind of makes it less interesting to watch because that's kind of what you kind of want to see in these things. You want to see, okay, there's the monster destroying the city, there's the military firing at him. That's kind of the staples of it. So when you're kind of missing something there, it's like it really feels like it's missing something. But like I said, I mean, they were clever in the sense that they did try to work around it. They didn't try to be like, well, the military's not shooting at him because.
I was just gonna say, where's his dad at? Sad and disappointed. He couldn't even stick around to see what. Oh my god.
These guys. Yeah, no, I never liked this whole subplot with these guys. These guys just, and from the second
it almost makes it seem like they're more important.
I just don't care. Like there's so much more bigger, no pun intended, bigger things going on. I don't know. In kaiju films, I'm not a big fan of really. I mean, sometimes again, you look at Gogeta, the subplot with like the brother and the sister, and her betraying his trust and the kind of drama of that. But that worked because it directly linked itself to the A plot. Here, this just kind of feels like, okay, we need a subplot. We need a B plot. I know, bank robbers or robber or criminal guy. I'm just kind of like, but do we need this? But again, if you're talking about like episodic television, I guess. But I never even liked it before when I was watching the as a series. I was kind of like. I would have loved to have dived in more with these guys, kind of make more, get more into their personal drama, kind of get more into their characters a little bit, kind of have that lead into kind of the secondary drama of the story. I think kind of throwing these guys in just kind of feels like they're a little too cartoony for me too. They kind of feel like Looney Tunes bad guys as opposed to like real bad guys. Not to mention, you can kind of see what's going to happen with these guys coming a mile away. Like I won't quote unquote spoil it for you guys, but I don't really think you're gonna be shocked.
Ew.
Narcotics.
I'm just like, I guess the suitcase is waterproof because how would
Yeah, let's get Agon high. That's a great idea. Let's give a big angry monster a suitcase, a bunch of cocaine. I will say it is kind of interesting though. Like it's not a suitcase full of money.
Yeah.
It's drugs. I think right away it implies a much more nefarious thing because if it's just the money, you could argue like, oh well, they could have gotten the money doing anything. You know what I mean? But the fact that like. Oh,
is that him? They're just touching him?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Again, how, I mean, it's cool that they actually built that where they could climb on it, but...
Like, how would you literally not notice, like, the giant monster right there?
And again, I keep going back to this, but what about the radiation? His face.
So I guess that's the scale of Agon. We're going to use that as, like, so he's not, I would say, yeah, he's a little, he's not super, well, way smaller than Godzilla. Yeah. Looks like he's having fun.
I know.
Okay, yeah, you can really see the scale there. Yeah. He's a little smaller than Godzilla, I would say.
I'm just like, were they gonna try to like climb up him? Like, what did they think was gonna happen?
Well, I don't think they knew that was him. I think they thought it was just something there, and I'm kind of like, how do you literally not see like the biggest animal? Because again, Godzilla's not in this continuity. So I'm like, okay, so this is in theory the biggest animal in the world, and it's just standing right there. Like, how do you not notice that? People don't realize too, something that big, its breathing alone, you would hear it.
Yeah. And again, it's gross, but I'm like, what if he pooped? Like, he has to go to his bathroom. He just took a big old dookie in the middle of the city.
What is it with you in like these movies? You always talk about their pooping. Like,
it's an animal, and it would have to go at some point, okay?
Yeah, but if he's feeding, maybe just on radiation.
I guess.
He's in the water. I'd say he'd pee first.
Oh. It's a tiny helicopter.
Again, why do you guys never roll with dudes with guns? You have the cops with you at all times.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's good they know how to fly a helicopter.
He just stands up and his head gets chopped off from the blade. Yeah, it is kind of surprising. Like,
Peace, motherfuckers.
You do know how to fly.
I know. I'm like, well, I guess these are... You idiot. Like this right here, I'm like, yes, they would totally do this.
I'm like, you finally got what you wanted. Why wouldn't you just get the fuck out of Dodge?
Boom.
I was gonna say, you saw what happened.
Oh, he just grabbed it and held it up. And they're all laughing. Ha 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 ha. I take a picture of it.
Oh my god.
That was awesome. There wasn't like, you know, oh no, they were still human beings at the end of the day and they died.
I know, he was so sad that other guy got killed.
They were just laughing their ass off like, oh dude, get a picture of this.
Selfie. It looked like Agon was laughing.
I know. Like everyone was just having a good laugh at those two.
Looks like he's trying to ballroom dance by himself. You see it?
Yeah. Look at him.
Is that supposed to be the drugs that somehow are already in him?
I don't know. Is Agon getting high?
Fuck this building!
Yeah,
Jesus,
this is the remainder of the set they had to destroy. So I think if you wanted to know how much longer this is going to be, this is your cue that it's pretty much the end because they're just destroying everything now.
And he's on fire.
Yeah. See, stuff like this, I wonder, was that an accident? Was he supposed to catch on fire? Or was it one of those things where it happened and they just rolled with it?
I'd be kind of, like, terrified if I was inside there. And they're just standing around in a completely different area now.
Yeah, a lot of this just kind of hanging out, you know. Hey, kid, that should be dead 32 times over. How you doing?
Watch it as it dies.
Classic shot of everyone has to watch stoically as, you know, the monster goes down. Kind of the life lesson moment for everyone.
Yep. Even though he was like, hey, look, Monta, look, he's going to go die. So I'm like, are you really that upset about it?
Again, I think they're trying to pull a Gogeta right here. Like,
know.
let's all have a somber moment to learn something. But it doesn't really come across as poignant as. Well, so we have some cool like credit shots of like the suit. Kind of cool. They show like the breathing thing. I think this one is the most. I think that was actually the most impressive thing the suit did. Even more so than the fire. The fire looked a little kind of sloppy, but it was cool. They give him a cool kind of breathing effect. But yeah, so that is that is Agon. Again, call it what you will, but it did kind of show that the kaiju genre was now like in full swing, and that it was definitely successful, which means now, hey, let's try to make some money off it where we can. But yep, that's gonna do it for us, party people. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.